The Chevy 350 wasn't just another engine. It was the backbone of American performance. Reliable, powerful, and everywhere. But then came a claim, not from engineers, not from racers, but from rumor. A claim that something was wrong. One report, one mistake, and just like that, the legend of the 350 started to fall apart. But was there any truth to it? Or did a false accusation take down one of the greatest engines of its time? Let's find out. Built to last, the true spirit of the Chevy 350. The Chevy 350 didn't just roll off the line, it came with intent. Born in the late 60s, this small block V8 wasn't made to impress with flash, it was made to work. Tough, reliable, all-American muscle that could take a beating and keep pulling strong. It wasn't just power under the hood, it was purpose on the road. It showed up in Camaros, Chevy, Novas, cars that didn't just look fast but were actually fast. And the 350, it made sure of that. What made it different wasn't just power, it was how that power came alive. The moment you turned the key, you felt it. That low, confident rumble, that instant throttle response, that pull. It didn't just move you, it moved something inside you. Racers saw its potential, gearheads saw its promise, and every weekend mechanic knew this was the engine you wanted in your ride. Strong internals, endless aftermarket support, easy to work on, easy to win with. By the 70s, the 350 wasn't just a popular engine, it was the engine, the gold standard, the backbone of GM's performance lineup. And in a time when muscle ruled the streets, the 350 was king. But legends don't live easy lives, and this one? It was about to face something even tougher than time or rivals. It was about to face a smear job, a false accusation, and the world started watching. The rumor that shook the streets. It started small, a whisper in the garage, a post on an obscure forum. One guy said the 350 had a flaw. Another claimed it couldn't handle high RPMs without failure. Then someone else mentioned a fire, caused, they said, by the 350's poor design. No one had proof, just stories, speculation, hearsay. But in the car world, rumors travel fast, especially when they're about something as iconic as the Chevy 350. Suddenly, online threads were flooded. Videos appeared questioning its reliability. Headlines read, "Is the 350 overrated?" People who had never driven a 350 started trashing it like experts. Mechanics who had praised it for years now second-guessed their words. It didn't take long before the false narrative took hold. Insurance companies noticed the noise. Some refused coverage for older models using the 350. Resale values dropped. A few magazines ran investigations, shallow ones, that didn't confirm anything but still cast doubt. Chevy stayed quiet, maybe too quiet, and for the first time in years, the legend began to crack. But here's what nobody realized. The ones spreading this garbage, they'd never felt a 350 come alive on the highway. They didn't know the engine, they didn't respect it. And when you disrespect a legend, there are always consequences. The real story behind the Chevy 350. Let's clear the smoke. The Chevy 350 wasn't perfect. No engine is. But calling it flawed? That's a reach. What most critics missed was context. The 350 wasn't made for keyboard warriors. It was built for the streets, for the strip, for real-world driving. Launched in 1967, it powered everything from Camaros to Corvettes, even pickups. And it did so with grit, muscle, and reliability. This wasn't some fragile experiment. This was a workhorse, an engine that powered generations. Ask any old-school mechanic. The 350 was easy to work on, cheap to maintain, and shockingly durable. It took abuse. It begged for more. And if you knew what you were doing, it could last over 300,000 miles. So where did the hate come from? Mostly from people who never owned one. They judged it by comparison to modern engines, turbocharged imports, or whatever was trending. But the 350 wasn't trying to compete with the future. It was the foundation of it. That's the part they didn't get. It wasn't outdated, it was timeless. And while rumors were burning its reputation, real drivers were still rebuilding them, racing them, living through them. Because legends don't die from words, they die when we forget them. And the 350, not even close to forgotten. How one false accusation changed everything. It didn't take much. One crash, one complaint, one headline. And suddenly the Chevy 350, once a hero, became the scapegoat. A driver wrecked his car during an illegal street race, but instead of taking the blame, he pointed fingers at the engine, said it failed him, said it couldn't be trusted. That single claim caught fire. Media ran with it. Headlines exaggerated it. Social circles repeated it. Soon the engine's name came with a warning, not because it deserved it, but because someone needed an excuse. The real issue? That wasn't a factory engine. It was tampered with, badly. Sloppy upgrades, mismatched parts, and zero tuning. It wasn't the Chevy 350's fault. It was an operator error. But nobody cared. The damage was done. In boardrooms, executives panicked. Dealerships backed away. Insurance companies raised premiums on any car running a 350 block. Without a proper defense, the narrative won. And Chevy, instead of setting the record straight, they stepped back. Let the storm pass. Quietly let the legend fade. Not because it failed, but because public opinion turned hostile. The truth is, the 350 was as solid as ever. Tuners, builders, racers, they all knew it. But the engine didn't lose to time or technology. It lost to noise, to politics, to a culture that loves a villain more than a hero. And for the Chevy 350, that accusation stuck like a scar. But here's where things get interesting. Some never gave up. In the next part, we'll see how this legendary engine stayed alive and who kept it roaring when everyone else moved on. Don't go anywhere. The fight for the 350's legacy is just getting started. The underground resurgence. While the mainstream moved on, real car lovers didn't. In garages, in dusty barns, in underground meets, the Chevy 350 lived on. Tuners knew what they had, a near-indestructible engine with endless potential. No matter the hate it got, they saw through the noise. They knew the truth. The 350 wasn't broken, it was misunderstood. Mechanics kept swapping it into old Camaros and custom hot rods. Racers kept pushing it to new limits. Street crews quietly rebuilt legends with 350s under the hood. No flash, no fanfare, just raw power. Online forums buzzed with guides and builds. Parts never disappeared. If anything, demand grew. Because when a platform is solid, it doesn't fade, it multiplies. And this wasn't about nostalgia, it was about performance. The 350 could handle torque, it could take abuse, and with the right tune, it could smoke engines twice its price. For a new generation of builders, the false accusations were just noise. They didn't care about headlines, they cared about horsepower. What happened next? The 350 started appearing in places it shouldn't have. Sleeper builds, track monsters, even drift cars. Not because it was trendy, because it worked. Because legends don't need defending, they just need fuel. And next up, we're breaking down how this engine made a return nobody saw coming, and why the 350's story is far from over. Redemption through performance. Time passed, trends shifted, but the Chevy 350, it didn't just survive, it thrived. Why? Because it kept proving people wrong, one build after another, one race at a time. The numbers didn't lie. This engine was delivered, and people started noticing. Tuning shops brought it back into the spotlight. YouTube builds started going viral. Dyno runs, quarter-mile tests, real performance with no filters, no marketing gimmicks, just results. Even some critics walked it back. Quietly, but they did. The engine that was once dismissed became a badge of honor in the car community. Not just for what it could do, but for everything it endured. False claims, media slander, industry politics. It went through all of it and came out roaring. The 350's reputation wasn't restored by PR, it was restored by people who knew what they were doing. Builders, tuners, racers, legends in the making. And here's the thing, the Chevy 350 wasn't just an engine anymore. It became a movement, a statement. Old school engineering, raw power, no excuses. That's what gave it life again. Not hype, not nostalgia, just performance. Coming up next, we'll reveal the unexpected places where the 350 still dominates today and why it refuses to die. Still alive, still winning. Decades later, it's still out there, under the hoods of sleepers, lurking inside drag beasts, swapped into Camaros, Novas, El Caminos, even builds it was never meant for. Why? Because the Chevy 350 refuses to die. It's not some delicate relic, it's a bruiser, easy to tune, easy to fix, and brutally effective. Racers love it. Tuners swear by it. You can bolt it up, fire it up, and get down to business. Even with all the newer tech, flashy imports, and boosted motors, the 350 still shows up, still makes noise, still wins. It's not about nostalgia. It's about performance that delivers. Real power, real results. At local tracks, it roars past modern engines. On drag strips, it launches like a rocket. In garage builds, it's the go-to block. And when it breaks, it gets rebuilt. It's modular, it's reliable, and it answers to no one. You won't see it on magazine covers anymore. But in the real world, it's everywhere. Because the 350 isn't just an engine, it's a declaration. That power can be simple. That performance doesn't need a touchscreen. That muscle doesn't fade, it just waits for the green light. False accusations didn't kill it. Industry trends didn't bury it. And here's the punch. It didn't just survive the smear campaign, it thrived. Even the critics couldn't take it down. They tried, sure, but when they looked under the hood, it was still there, strong, untouched. The 350's reputation became more than just numbers. It became a symbol of endurance. It wasn't about keeping up with the latest trends. It was about staying true to the roots, the raw, untamed power that never compromised. The 350 didn't just survive, it outlasted the noise. And in that, it's earned its place in the history books. The legacy that won't die. They tried to write it off, said it was old news, unreliable, outclassed. But the Chevy 350 wasn't ready to be forgotten. It kept showing up, at street races, in weekend builds, roaring down the strip like nothing ever changed. It wasn't just an engine anymore. It stood for something. Grit, power, a time when muscle ruled the road, a rebellion against the new and improved. It's not perfect, but it doesn't need to be. It's raw, real, still here. And here's the kicker. It's not just history. It's living, breathing power. Racing, winning, scaring those who couldn't handle it. The 350 isn't dead. It's still in garages, still feared, still revered. For every race it won and every builder who trusted it, it earned its place. It didn't die because it wasn't good enough. It died because no one could handle it. So here's the truth. 350 can't be killed. It's more than an engine. It's a story that's still being written. What do you think? Was the Chevy 350 misunderstood? Drop your thoughts below, like, subscribe, and stay tuned. The story's far from over.